Amazon, they build so complex product, but somehow the vision they have, the leaders who have this vision, that vision flows down and to the lowest level of devs and tester. Everybody gets that vision. And I know Walmart, it's a pretty complex business. And I wonder, as a leader, do you do something, or what all you do to make sure that your vision flows down all the way to every dev or test and DevOps guy?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is a really complex question, obviously, and this is not an easy thing to sort of execute, and there's a lot of factors, right? Like, um, you know, company culture, right, comes to mind as one massive factor. What's the culture of the company,
Right.
and all those things, and so I mean, I think the way that I've sort of done it, I've spelled it out, right? Like I've literally written it down on a Confluence page, and I've taken the time to sort of write down our core principles as a team, and also write our vision, right? Which is like for a Jet, it was to kind of build, the large scale distributed systems that can power marketing and personalization for Jet at scale. And we wrote stuff like that. And what does that mean? And I got more granular. And basically people can go and read that, right? But then also, I mean, you have to kind of push people that are one level below you, and all the people that you have that you have one-on-ones with, you have to push them to understand the business, right? Because what happens is a lot of the times on the tech side, the disconnect is not necessarily like that grand vision. The disconnect is like with their business partners, almost with their at least it's what I've found. I mean, it could be different, and like I said, there's so many factors here. This is really difficult to pinpoint, but like basically creating that culture where people you know want to partner up with their business partners, want to understand the business partner. I think part of creating that is like asking people in the one-on-one, like, hey, that feature you pushed out, what was this, what move, did the needle move on the sales, did conversion change, these
Uh,
kinds of things, right? Then that causes them to go probe, because a lot of times people don't even think about that, right? Like, and they push the feature and everything's working, and if they look at the telemetry, there's no downtime, it's all good, right? But they have no idea how much it's sold. But I mean, that is so important, because going back, it's like it ties into this grander thing of like, what are we even doing here? Like, why are we even building this stuff? And so I think basically, I don't know if I exactly answered your question, but I think that kind of leads people into digging deeper, finding out what these things are, and then maybe even going and pinging their business partner and saying, hey, can you show me the dashboard for the GMV, for the sales numbers, for the conversion, because my I need to know now, and I need to keep tabs on it. And then to further reinforce this, especially like the higher level you go, you incentivize it, right? Like you incentivize. I mean, Warren Buffett, I mean, didn't say, show me the incentives, and I'll show you the outcome for no reason. It's basically like, if you incentivize that, if you say, hey, the person that's getting promoted is the person that added the most GMV. That's it. I mean, they're going to know exactly what the GMV is. That you'll never have that. And I know that's a
right.
silly metric. Like, I'm not saying, because there are people that work in DevOps and other groups that don't move the needle on the GMV, but they move the needle on something. They have customers, right? Like other engineers are their customers, and so start there, right? And so
Right.
so I think you as a leader, you have these levers that kind of force people to do their own research to the vision. I mean, obviously you got to spell it out. Obviously you got to lay it down somewhere. But I do think you kind of want the incentives to tie back to that. Otherwise, people will just divert, because, let's be real. I mean, we're engineers and we love technology. So it's very easy to just fall in love with that and do a really great job with that. But that might not be increasing sales at all. That might, and let's be real. Like, if we don't have sales coming in, none of us would have the job. So it's like this kind
True.
of, I think there's basically many levers we can use to bring people back to the vision.
True.
And
True.
it's not like a forceful thing, right? Like, you're not going to be able to just tell people, this is the vision, and I want you to pay
Right.
attention to it all the time. And if you don't, like, whatever. I think there's a lot of things you could do on a regular basis, and people kind of then they internalize it, and then you don't have to tell them. I mean, they'll tell you then, right? Like, they'll just, if it's baked into the code, they'll
Yeah.
tell you, right? And then you'll be surprised, like, my God, like the numbers move that much. That's amazing. you know.
True. 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 No, I think it's a very important thing you said, which I seen a lot of people miss that part about writing it and communicating that vision. So because when you're writing, it becomes crystal clear. And I think as a leader, your main job is to bring the clarity, like where are we heading and where will be our future 5 year or 3 year from now. That's the job of leader. And if you write it and then you connect it with all the other initiative and matrices,
And you're also
then
going to have to say
it
it a
will
lot
flow
too,
down.
Rafat. Like you're going to have you might find yourself sounding like a tape stuck on repeat or something because you're going to be in different meetings and saying the same thing again and again and again. And it's like
Very important
that's what
point.
people
Yes,
need. I mean, they need to hear that again and again, and then it's drilled in. And like this is what we're going after, you know. And so you sound like you're
true.
parroting a little bit, but I do think it's very important. So yeah.
It's very important. Yep, yeah, I agree with that. Cool. So, next question I have, Louis. I'm sure you hired a lot of people in your career in different companies, and so what I want to know for when you are hiring, what you look in the candidate, and of course everybody will say they look for IQ and smartness and all those things.